Good evening. Welcome everyone. We're going to get started. Hope you're all having a lovely Monday. Sorry to interrupt all your beautiful connections and stuff. I love that. We love building community here, so glad you all came out. If I have not met you yet, I think I've met most of you in here. If not, my name's Troy. I'm one of the organizers of the Arizona and Phoenix Psychedelic Society. And tonight we have a very, very special guest. She is, if you do not know, the owner of this lovely establishment. Tracy's going to be coming up and sharing with us about Kava and Kratom. I'm actually excited to learn more about it myself because I come in here all the time, obviously, and enjoy the drinks. They're delicious and I love the way they make me feel, but I don't always know. People sometimes ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know that. You should ask Tracy. So she's going to educate us on that because they are also plant medicines, right? We're not just exclusive to psychedelics, but we want to be all-inclusive and also just keep continuing that great relationship we have with Tracy and Meraki, and I love her letting us come in here and do our thing, and appreciate all you guys showing up and supporting the Kava Bar too. So please join me in welcoming Tracy up to the stage. Oh, also, one quick for that. I had the pot left at my house last Monday. If anyone recognizes this or knows who this is, someone left a bowl at my house. So. Or if anyone wants a nice yellow bowl, I don't know, come for that. So. All right, come on up, Tracy.
Very good.
Hi everybody, thank you for having me. And thanks for coming down always and supporting Meraki, we appreciate it. When I was asked to come speak here and the reasoning, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Everyone comes here and piles in and probably confused about what's on our menu, but still open to trying things, which we appreciate. And hopefully you've been educated at least a little bit by your kava tenders at the bar. That's one thing that's super important to us. I think that is, as we start to become a world where people are looking for alternatives outside of alcohol or whatever big pharma is pushing to us, it's very important for you to know what you're putting in your body. And recently we just did a menu change. When we first opened this place, before I even opened this place, I teach Kundalini Yoga, and I used to, thank you. We used to do, during the pandemic, we did Kava and Kundalini. And the reason that I did that was because I noticed there was this kind of marriage of needing to have a deeper sense of dropping into yourself and relaxation, especially with the heightened anxiety that we were experiencing during the pandemic. And so we started doing this Kava and Kundalini classes. And one young lady came to me after class who had been coming regardless and really not doing a lot of it because we don't push you to do much in our classes, like come and just be with us and be in the energy, and whenever you're ready to drop in. And after the class, she came to me and she said, after I drank the kava, I was able to do the whole class. And she had had a stroke previously, so this was huge for her to be able to experience. And so that's kind of where kava, I was like, oh, this is not something I want to let go of. And when we first opened, the goal was to be more about wellness and about taking care of your body, and we kind of, learned to grow this on our own, and we added syrups, and we just recently did a menu change where we took all the syrups away. So some of you may have gone to the bar, like, can I get some raspberry? Or we're using herbal teas now as concentrated herbal teas for flavors, so that, because what's the purpose in putting plant medicine in your body if you're just going to drop sugar or something, made up in a factory back into your body? So we've made that menu change. So if you have any questions, TJ is happy to answer, or I am definitely happy to answer any questions. I did make some notes because I don't want to miss anything. And I'm happy to answer any questions if I do miss anything, or there's something that I'm not going over that you have a question about. Today, I just want to dive really deep into this exciting world of non-alcoholic beverages. I think it's important that we kind of highlight that non-alcoholic point. We oftentimes in our society, we go, and no shame in your game if you drink alcohol, by the way. There's no shame around here ever. Everything in balance, everything in moderation, even kava and kratom and blue lotus. Taking care of yourself is the most important thing. But the our diverse offerings, and we continue to offer more and more diverse offerings as we start to study and see some of these plants that are coming out. I often do like searches for like newer evidence of psychoactive teas that are going to help you. So you'll see this kind of menu grow. One of the new ones that I want to talk about first is passion flower. And passion flower, I had no idea. And just like kava, it's been around even in America for quite some time and used as like a cough syrup back in the olden days. I think I read an article that in Mexico they had it in like a syrup to help you sleep at night. But passion flower is just a tea, and dosed properly can help with like insomnia, relaxation, anxiety. And so some of those herbal blends that we're starting to offer are going to add some of that. And again, of course, we want to educate you on this. Blue lotus is also one of those teas that really helps you connect, drop into relaxation, but also activates lucid dreams, which is my favorite thing about it. And the blue lotus, our blue lotus blend here, has all the lotuses. So not just one lotus, but all the lotuses, and a couple of other things like catnip and lavender, and we actually add a scoop of green kratom to that tea as well. And the reason we do that is, as I was trying to figure out, and I think I'm a little bit of a tea brewing chemist, and I'm trying to figure out how this blue lotus makes your body feel. I was like, why don't we just add a little bit of focus and relaxation into this? And I drink it myself. I always drink everything myself before we put it on the menu, so I know I'm super, super sensitive. So I knew how it made me feel, so definitely know how it's gonna make you feel. And then I went next door and I played the gong, and I dropped into that gong something so beautifully, and I was like, oh, this blue lotus is a thing. We put it on the menu and it flies off the shelves. I'm sure some of you have had it. If you haven't, it does taste a little bit like eating a flower. We do our best to kind of mask that, but we do want to keep it as natural as possible. So that's one of the beauties of having a plant medicine bar, is we get to take some of these beautiful plants that the earth gave us and honor them by utilizing them in the way that they were meant to be used. And that's really what we want to promote around here. We really try not to be a place where you pop in and just grab a drink. We try to make sure that our atmosphere is relaxed, that everybody feels welcomed, that this is a place that feels like home when you walk in the door. So I hope that you guys are all experiencing that when you come here, and everyone makes you feel welcomed. We want to always, I want to assure you that we always use high quality ingredients. So all of our ingredients are tested. Kava and kratom specifically. Kratom is not regulated in the United States, and there's a possibility of having toxins or heavy metals in some of these teas that come from overseas. And so we always make sure that everything is tested so that we know that what we're giving you is helping your body. We don't want to just do away with the sugar and the syrups. We want to make sure that your body feels good when you're receiving this. Because to me, it's a medicine. I know people don't like me to say that out loud, get me in trouble. But it's a medicine, and I want you to be able to use it as a medicine. So let's understand a little bit about kava. Kava is a drink that comes from the root of a pepper plant. It's grown traditionally in the Polynesian islands, and it's used in ceremonies in the islands. So women were actually not allowed to drink kava back when kava was first being initiated. So when I was going to open a kava bar, I had a deep conversation with another woman who knows a lot about kava bars, and she was like, you're kind of going against the grain here, because women don't own kava bars, which I didn't know. I mean, that's not going to stop me. So I own a kava bar, and I'm educating you about the social gatherings. And that's what we're doing here in this kava bar. We do social gatherings. This is our way of doing a ceremony. This is our way of honoring the medicine. So every day at 6 o'clock we come here and we do bula bonding. Some of you may have been here for that. And that's our way of honoring the medicine and the ceremony and where the medicine comes from and the traditions of the islands and how they hold space for it. That's our way of doing that. Kava also activates the GABA receptors in your brain. So does wine. Except for you never get drunk, you never lose any of your cognitive abilities, and you don't wake up with a hangover. Sounds like my kind of party. This luxurious life of drinking something that's not going to hold you back is starting to become more prominent in our social cultures here, which is, we're just a small little corner of the world, but that's the future, especially here in the valley. I see it coming. There's different flavors of kava. I mean, it all tastes like dirt. But there is a kava, it's called green kava, which we serve here sometimes during events, and we served it in the beginning. And green kava is fresh root that's flash frozen, and you thaw it out and you brew it, and it tastes like cucumber water. Your first time drinking kava, if no one in here has drank kava before, you'll notice that it numbs or tingles your tongue, which is 100% normal, and you're not having an allergic reaction. What's happening is the pepper plant is activating what's called kavalactones. And the kavalactones, when they start activating, that's essentially what's happening in your body, your nervous system. I really like to give that visual to people when they come in, is think about that feeling in your tongue going through your nervous system. So those of us who work long hours during the day, who are stressed out, who are having anxiety or panic attacks, now your body has the permission to relax. Now your body has, and your mind has the permission to receive what's going on around you. So what's different about kava bars versus a regular bar that you go into is everybody's heightened and aware. So where you go into like our kava bars, they really can't come in a bad mood, because you're gonna know, right? And you're also gonna know if somebody's sitting at the bar in a bad mood, like, hey friend, what's going on with you? But because you're relaxed and open and social, you're open to hearing them, to being with them, and they're the same situation with you. How many places do you know right now, off the top of your head, that you can find that? Not in the real world, right? Where people can sit with you and be open and relaxed and social. So this soothing property of the plant medicine in this bar and any other kava bar or any that you take home helps you activate, for me, your true self without the inhibitions of what's happening in the world, the anxiety and the stress. It also, for me, when I first began to drink it, I noticed, which probably really got me hooked to it, is I had the ability to focus on one thing at a time. We have a million thoughts going in our mind, and the way that the GABA receptors are kind of opened and relaxed, I remember the moment that I noticed I was in the kitchen. I cleaned my entire house after drinking a lot of kava. But I turned around and I looked at the dishes, and there was dishes in the sink. And after I cleaned the whole house, I was like, I'm not doing the dishes. And I saw like myself focus and go, oh, actually I can finish those. And I noticed the reason that I was open to finishing those is because I was relaxed. I wasn't stressed. I had the ability to focus on one thing at a time. And you find that a lot when you're drinking kava. All of a sudden you have the ability to focus on one thing at a time, activating and relaxing and dropping into your true self. This is my medicine. This is how I see it, and this is why I offer it to all of you here in this place. We also have a ton of strains of Kratom. And for those of you that don't know what Kratom is, or you haven't tried it, or maybe you have, and you're like, I don't know, I just come in here and order something and it makes me feel a little buzzy on the head. I got that from some guy the other day. He was like, is this the buzzy stuff? The thing that makes my head buzzy? And I was like, oh, I'm not sure. It doesn't make me buzzy, but some people it does, right? It makes you feel a little relaxed. We have different strains here, and the white strain used to be one of my favorites. Now I got too much going on for that kind of energy. It's not something that I really recommend for people who are new to drinking Kratom. Our recommendation are the two middle strains, but the white strain is a high energy. So sometimes people think, oh, this stuff is just supposed to relax me. Some people can take Kratom and then go to the gym and use it as a pre-workout. Or what I like to tell new customers when they come in, not unless you want to move your entire house over to your neighbor's house. I don't want you to drink this. And that's the kind of energy that it really does give you. But the cool thing about it is it doesn't give you the shakes and you don't get stressed and like caffeine does. It comes down and it comes down in a relaxed form. So you still have that ability to feel good. Now, again, everything in moderation. I'm not telling you to run to the bar right now and take a bunch of white kratom home because you have a really big job to do tomorrow. Everything in moderation. Always want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. The green kratom is going to be the step down. This relaxed, open, focused tea. It's one I recommend if you're new to kratom. Let me just take a step back though, because we brew our kratom here by the leaf only. And it's important that I express that to you. Powder is really, really strong, and it's easy to misdose. Not that I'm saying anything's good or bad, to each their own, right, if you know what you're doing. But we don't do that here because I don't want to run the risk. I'm going to give you the moderation balance of it, and then you can do whatever you want on your own when you're learning this stuff or using it. But that's why we brew it by the leaf. I wasn't going to serve kratom when I first opened this bar. I was going to serve kava only because I dived into the internet the way that everybody else did, and I had tried it a couple of times, and it made me not feel the way that I thought. This is not a good feeling. But my husband and I, before we opened to the public, we had a couple of date nights here, and we built a relationship with it. And so the way that we brew our tea is very intentional and on purpose. And I've had several people over the last almost 3 years come in here that have had bad experiences with kratom and tell us that like they can tell that we are very intentional about how we dose it, how we prepare it. And it is important because plant medicine is plant medicine, no matter how you look at it. And it's important that you are taking care of yourself and also the plant when you're introducing it to your body. So we are brewing constantly back there and making sure that it's dosed always the same. And so it's not likely that you're going to come in here and like, oh, is this a really stronger batch today? It's not. It's going to be the same. Although Billy says that it's really strong, huh, Billy? So we do a good job at making sure that it's responsible for you. So the green kratom, I like to call a wave tea. That's my explanation. When someone comes in here, they're new, it's a wave. I give everything some kind of name or relationship. But the wave tea, to me, is where you get relaxed and you're focused and you can kind of work on whatever you're working on. But then once you get up, it goes with you, and you get a little energy, you get a little boost, and so that focus becomes less relaxed and more energizing. So it's like this tea that kind of moves with you in your body and your experience, which is one of my favorites, and I think it's a pretty large favorite around here as well. The yellow strain is an interesting strain because it's actually not even a strain. It doesn't grow on the leaf, and by the way, this grows in like Indonesia, nowhere near Kava, wherever Kava is grown. The yellow tea is a combined kind of tea that comes together, and for some people has the ability to make you feel very relaxed, super chill, especially new people. And when I first started drinking the yellow tea, I was like, oh, this is my jam. This is my tea here. I can relax and still get things done. But for some reason, the chemistry in my body has changed. Again, this is plants, so you gotta take it by ear. Every day is gonna be different. Now it keeps me up at night. So now if I'm gonna drink it, I have to drink it in the morning instead of drinking it to relax. So it is very possible for the chemistry in your body to change, whether or not you ate, whether or not you drink alcohol, whether or not you take other substances, whether or not and that's important to remember when you're drinking some of this stuff. If you haven't eaten any food, sometimes I'm like, I think we just want to chill out for a little while. You don't want to make yourself nauseous. And that is one of the side effects, is if you have too much. And people have come in here and asked me, like, how do I know if I've had too much kava or kratom? Your body is going to tell you. Don't worry. It's not like alcohol where you're not aware of what's happening and you're driving and you don't realize that you're drunk. Well, you realize that you've had enough. And kava specifically, if you've had enough, you're gonna throw it up. It's coming right up. And usually it's because your stomach is really full. Not because you're like feeling nauseous. You're just like, oh, I've had too much. And trust me, I've done that to myself. I really enjoyed this stuff when I first was starting to build a relationship with it. So I used to have little parties at my house and pretend to make mocktails, hence why I have a kava bar now. But I would get people over, and before you know it, I'm still having fun and everybody looks like this. Because it does make you super relaxed. So yellow kratom will make you super relaxed. The red kratom is probably the most popular out of all of the teas, and that's because, and I did this talk, a talk at the psychedelic conference. I don't know if some of you guys were there. But as soon as I said the word relieves pain, after the talk, everybody came up to me and they didn't hear anything else I said and said, "What was that you said, relieves pain?" We're all in pain in some way, shape, or form, right? This is the American way. We've adopted that conversation with our body, unfortunately. And so we're all looking for some kind of out. And nobody wants to run to the doctor and be put on pill after pill after pill after pill to get some of this pain out of your body. And I didn't really believe when I first got it that it was that helpful. Except for one night, one day I was here and we first opened and I had the worst cramps. I know some of you ladies know what I'm talking about. Just like, somebody please kill me now because this is never gonna end. And I was like, okay, I'm drinking it. I'm gonna find out if this stuff is real. I was in so much pain that I went to my grandma's house and cried in her bed. That's how much pain I was in. And I took a red tea with me and I drank it and I took a little nap. I woke up and it was completely gone. No pain. And I had taken a couple years prior to that pretty large amounts of Vicodin to get rid of that kind of pain that I was having. I was in the hospital constantly for that kind of pain. And one tea, and I didn't finish it, completely knocked it out. So whenever I'm explaining this red tea to people, especially when they're new to it, I don't really recommend it for new people unless you're mixing it with something and you have a lower dose of it. But I do tell you that sometimes if you're walking around in a lot of pain, you could feel energy from the red tea. And not energy because the tea's giving you energy because your mind is finally free of the pain that's activated in your body that's keeping you from really seeing what's happening around you. And most people don't really realize they're in that kind of pain until it's relieved, and that's really what happened to me. So it does have the ability to relieve pain. Again, with all things, make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're being responsible with it. I keep saying that, but there's a higher risk of you being addicted to caffeine and sugar than there is to kratom. Most people don't know that, but they have done studies on it. And I wanted to make sure to mention that this evening so that you do know that. And some of you probably are addicted to caffeine. You have some coffee behind the bar, by the way. But these herbal teas that we're offering are a blessing to us, and we want to make sure that we are giving it to you in that way. So moving on from kratom, we have, I talked a little bit about blue lotus and the significance of it giving you lucid dreams, but it also has some sedative effects. It can make you feel super relaxed, but it's a mood enhancer. So a lot of people will drink it without realizing, like, oh, I don't know, I like that blue lotus tea. But it's a mood enhancer, so you feel kind of relaxed and you feel good and you feel a little euphoric sometimes. And in this culture that we're in, this euphoric feeling, it's interesting because we miss that. The euphoric feeling is actually, to me, you. The feeling of feeling relaxed, again, and connected. That's what these herbal teas do for us. They allow us to kind of drop out of what's happening in the chaos and give us the experience of ourselves. So if you haven't had a blue lotus, I do recommend you try it and then drop into those deep dreams because they are pretty wild. And then keep a little journal by your bed. We used to have a dream book in here. I think we still have it. And I would ask people, like, once you have your first dream, come in here and write it in the book so you can, share it with everyone else. And people would come in and write pages of their dreams. So pretty wild stuff, and it is really a reality. So try it out. Take notes. And share it with somebody, like, I drank the blue tea and whatever dream it was. I'm not a dream counselor, but is there anyone in here who wants to sign up for that? No? We'll get somebody. And last but not least, I want to talk to you about kanna, which is something we recently added to our menu. And whenever someone's like, what is kanna? We bought the cans. I'm working on making our own here because I really do believe in everything we make being behind the counter, behind the bar. But kanna is a plant that's native to South Africa. And it's often known as nature's MDMA. Not wild like MDMA though. But nature's, right? So the first time I tried kanna, I heard that. Just like you hear anything else and you're like, oh my God, I'm scared. I don't want to try. I've tried MDMA, by the way, and no. So when I first took it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm not putting this on my counter unless, again, I have to experience it before I will allow it to happen in here. So I drank it and I sat over there and I had a conversation with somebody and I thought, oh, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden I really liked this person. And they were making me really happy, talking about something I really didn't care about. But all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's happening. Oh, this is working. Oh, this is cool. I like this. And it's very subtle. It activates and then it's very subtle and then it just keeps you in a kind of a nice mood. If you're sensitive like me, not everybody is, but if you're sensitive like me, you're gonna feel kind of this like tingly, happy feeling, and then you know that it's like alive and it's happening for you. It affects the nervous system in a relaxing way. Again, this is a mood enhancer. So most of the things around here are going to be mood enhancers, something that elevates your mood and help you feel better. And these things come from the earth, and we were meant to know about these our whole entire lives, and we just haven't had access to them. And now that we do, it's our job to share them and explore them and be safe and responsible with them. We have so many herbal teas here. We also sell them online, so that you can take them home and try them out for yourself, even if you're a little scared and you don't want to try them here. And on our new menu, there's a section in the middle of other herbal teas and things that will benefit your body. And they may not be psychoactive, because it's not really all about psychoactive. It's really about your wellness and your well-being and your health. But there are so many more natural remedies out here that we just continue to find and explore in, that can do so much more for your body. And that's the goal, is that you have an offering of natural remedies, that you have access and the right kind of information to be able to, enhance the experience and maybe take some home and experiment with them yourselves. I just started a blog. I got really excited when we did our new menu, and I just started a blog, and we're doing lots of like recipes and mixtures and herbal blends and all types of things because I want to just educate people and share. So that's why this was also very good timing, you guys asking me to be here, because this part of educating people on these natural remedies for your experience on the planet, outside of, that's why I teach Kundalini. I want you to have a better experience on the planet. This is also my way, and I'll share this little moment with you. One time, my first time ever doing mushrooms, I went out to see a shaman, and we sat on the land, and the sun was going down, and the wind was blowing, and I was really dropped in. The plants started to move and talk to me, and I heard to remember that I was a medicine woman. And then when all of this started to happen, I was like, oh, I would come right back to it, wouldn't I? So this is what I feel like we're giving you. We're giving you a ceremony every time you come in. We're offering you an experience to be in touch with yourself and in touch with your mind and body and spirit, and in a subtle way, in a way that maybe you don't always notice. But I hope that we're doing that for you guys, and we've done a good job at educating you when you've come in here. Let's see. Of course, I didn't read anything off of this thing that I wanted to share with you guys. I did, however, want to, I don't think I would be doing any one service by coming up here and just telling you that plants are amazing and they do all the great things for you if I didn't tell you that there are some maybe not so good benefits and making sure that you're doing things responsibly. And so just a couple of, warnings about interactions to some of these medicines, to most of these medicines. Please do not mix alcohol when you are consuming these plants. The alcohol can increase the risk of some other things that are happening in your body. And maybe you don't know that these things are happening, and then you mix it with the plants, especially kava. It will make you puke your life away. I've seen it, so trust me when I say that. Also, mixing other types of substances, like the ones that you get off the streets, not a good idea. Some of our medicines here are a little stronger, and again, you don't know what's happening, the chemicals in your body. You want to make sure that you're being safe. Sedatives, not a good idea if you're taking sedatives to mix with some of these. These are all relaxants, essentially very subtle sedatives. So we want to make sure that you're not mixing those. Stimulants sometimes, but any other drugs or medications you're taking, please make sure that you talk to your doctor and be responsible, and don't just take our word for it, because if you come up to the bar and you ask them like, hey, I'm taking this medicine, can I mix it? We're not going to tell you yes, we're going to tell you to go talk to your doctor. We don't want to take accountability and responsibility for something that belongs to you. And we do want to make sure that you are 100% safe in all of the choices that you make. So we're always going to refer you back to your physician. And we want to make sure that we're promoting you to have safe habits when you're taking any plant medicines or building a relationship, as we have around here. So I wish I had so much more to give you guys on that. That was my story, and I'm sticking to it. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Actually, it's one I've had for a little bit, but it was kind of a perfect segue from where you just ended. What about kava and kratom in terms of mixing? Is there any net negatives, or is there any like benefits or any?
I think there's more benefits. We haven't had any. We do mix kava and kratom here. I mean, often, obviously, but we have a drink called dessert tea. I think there are more benefits that we've experienced versus any issues with it. They balance each other out from what we've seen out here. And in the beginning, when we were first learning about all of this stuff, some guys used to come in here and have been drinking kava and kratom longer than even I have. And I'm always learning from everybody that I'm interacting with. And they would drink a lot of kratom and use the kava to kind of balance their experience with it. So I have found that if you feel a little nauseous with the kratom, drinking just a shot of kava will bring some of that nausea down. Yes?
I have a question about the kanna. At the psychedelic convention, they were selling like little drops, and they said kanna on it, but you like put it under your tongue. So, and it sounded like you were saying like you make a tea out of it. Is it like a flower? Is it a powder? Is it drops? Like what is kanna?
Kanna is a flower. It comes from a tree in Africa, and typically it's given as a powder. And so you can make a tea out of it. You can make an extract out of it. And the drops are probably more beneficial, mostly because it's made as an extract. It's very subtle. So if you buy the powder form, you go online and you find kanna and you try to buy them, because I did the same thing, so I can tell you. If you buy the powder form and you try to make a tea on your own, it's not likely that you're gonna feel full benefits versus when you're making an extract out of it, or you're spending a lot of time kind of navigating the chemical compounds to how you're mixing it.
I'm just very curious about kanna as well. I've tried it a little bit myself, more orally, from like either the drops or the pills sometimes from the powdered. Didn't notice much with the pill form of it. So just curious if you had any other experiences, what kind of drew you to it. Also, do you know anything about KA and Pathogenics is the brand that's right out? Because I guess what I'm trying to say is that for the supply, I've seen a wide variety of potency and efficacy. Some of it seems like it's almost a placebo, and other stuff that actually has some like felt effects for me personally.
So yeah, that's true. And I've been kind of playing around with it lately and trying to find more. And I just I found recently, it's called, Haley, will you grab my phone? Or Kristen, while you're walking by, you grab my phone. There's a company that I just recently found, which I'm gonna just drop their name, they're welcome. That has some really good kanna, and I was just pulling it up earlier actually, and I think it's called Kanna Extract Company, so Kanna Extract Co. And they've done a really good job. It's quality stuff, and they have it in a pill form. They are coming out with it in a chocolate form. I actually just asked them if we could wholesale it because from what I've found, they have a really good quality supply, and I've been looking for a while. I've had lots of people send me like, hey, I got kanna, and they send it to me, and we want to make sure we have like really accurate quality stuff here. So this company, kannaextract.co, is probably what we're going to start making our teas with going forward. Yes.
I got a question on the blue lotus. Do you know the history behind it?
Egypt, it comes from Egypt. I actually put it in my notes, so thank you for asking that, 'cause I didn't read it. Let's see, the allure of blue lotus. It's an aquatic flower and comes from ancient Egypt and other cultures. Often used as a mild sedative, mood-enhancing properties. Blue lotus is our blue lotus that we use specifically here. I know that blue lotus by itself can be like smoked. You can use it like as a relaxing. I've seen people roll it up and put it in like an herbal smoke. But our blue lotus is actually a combination of lotuses. So the history of our lotus is going to come from a combination of herbs. But most things that I know about it, they used to call it the crown chakra. So activating the crown chakra and activating that spiritual kind of connection. That's kind of more of the history that I've learned on it, just because I'm kind of into that stuff. So I kind of dive into the more spiritual side of it.
I really like it, but it's always different. Sometimes I'll go to sleep, sometimes I'll be up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'll have dreams that feel like actual memories. Sometimes it's, like if I'm up till 4, I'm out of up at 4, and then wake up at 6, and it feels like I slept for 8 hours.
Is this a blue lotus that you're getting from here, or blue lotus you've gotten from somewhere else?
Petals.
From the petals. So, and I wasn't planning on getting a little spiritual with you guys here, but
Go for it, Tracy.
Let's go.
yeah. So, this comes from the teachings that I know from teaching Kundalini yoga and using any type of like plant medicine. The way that the glandular system is activated in our bodies, there's a secretion that happens. So whatever is happening in your life and whatever kind of like childhood trauma or relationships or stress that you have happening, your glandular system is activated in a certain way. So when you're taking a plant medicine, your glandular system essentially is like where your third eye and those kind of connections come from. This is the activation of your human experience when you're in your glandular system. There's a book called The Glands Are Secret Protectors, which is quite boring, but I love boring stuff. And in that, they will tell you that when you're born, your glandular system is set up a certain way. And so it's set up to create this experience that you have. And as you start to receive experiences in life, your glandular system will kind of shift and change. So when you're drinking blue lotus and you're saying, like, I'm having a different experience, to me, it's also the activation of what's happening in your glandular system, especially when you tap into something that's more spiritual. Does that make sense? It's, to me, science and spirituality are the same thing. And so what's happening to you is you're either, whatever you're secreting through your body is also happening in the subconscious mind. So it's either you're moving something through or pulling something up so that you can create another experience.
I'm not sure how actually spiritual I am, but there's different things happening, and I go, I wonder why this day is one way, and this day is not dramatic. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
It always makes me feel.
Yeah. It's a good medicine. It's a good plant, especially if you want to be more connected. And that, to me, the two are the same. I mean, there's no separation between science and spirituality. So when we really start to connect with the plants, what we're doing essentially is we're activating that connection between science and spirituality, and you're doing that unconsciously, right? And when you activate the subconscious mind and you start to wake up things that are happening, the body will react differently to the medicine. Yes.
You said you were knocking out the syrups. Is there anything that's replacing them?
Yeah, we're using herbal teas. So now we're using kind of some of the fruits. We have one called peach pop. We call it peach pop, but it's some peach, dried peaches and passion fruits. We're using hibiscus. We're using strawberry guava. So these kind of more fruity, natural herbal teas. We make our own lavender water. We make our own rose water. We're working on making our own vanilla syrup. We're using activated charcoal. We're using just kind of more pure herbals.
What's the blood orange one?
The blood orange is our kratom extract tea. So that one's actually not made from an herbal yet. Don't worry, I'm working on it. Everybody liked the blood orange, so I couldn't rip it out of everyone's hand the way that I would have liked to.
So it has kratom?
It does. It's a kratom extract tea.
Which one, like you said, was white?
So kratom extract, any extract, when it's going to come out of an extract, it's full spectrum. So typically that's why when you drink the kratom extract tea, you kind of feel like alert and alive and awake, and then all of a sudden you start to feel maybe a little more focused and then relaxed. So it's going to take you up, and it's going to bring you all the way through full spectrum, all the strains.
I've been enjoying the survivor shots.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious, like when I looked at it, there's quite a few different ingredients in that. So what's like the story behind that and the ingredients in it?
Yeah, so the survivor shots have, this one's a really cool one because the concoction of the survivor shots, we had a llama come to the yoga studio, and I tried to give him the survivor, and he looked in it and he was like, no, I'm sorry. I was like, do you like kava? He was like, yeah, I'll take the kava. Then he looked in the ingredients and he was like, no, it has deer antler in it. And that was, that's not happening. He's not taking the deer antler. So I was like, dang, I thought I was going to get the llama to take my kava home. But he blessed us anyways, we're good. So one of the cool ingredients in our survivor shot is the deer antler. And historically, the deer antler is to help relieve the muscle pain in your body. So a lot of people who work out or go to the gym will take deer antler as a supplement. There's also blue lotus in there. There's CBD in there. There's kava extract in there. A little bit of cinnamon for flavor. Am I missing anything? I think that's about it. Yeah, so it's a concoction, and that one is one of my favorites, and we'll probably keep it on forever. And it's actually a little stronger version of it is on our shelves, so you can take it home. But that one will keep on forever because just the experience of people coming in and telling me that it helps relieve their anxiety is one of the greatest experiences watching over time. Yes.
Do you got some botanicals have a psychedelic component, but that psychedelic component is not released until it's fermented.
Right.
Do you guys do something where you ferment a botanical, but at the same time you process it to a heat so that the alcohol composition evaporates?
No, so we don't use alcohol in anything that we use around here, any of our extracts, and we try to keep it. We have enough eyes on us, being a plant medicine bar, that we try to keep it just very balanced and safe. You're welcome to order it and try it at home though for yourself. Yes.
I got two questions.
Yes.
One is, how's the deer antler sourced? Like, are they shooting the deer? Are they picking the droppings and the carting the antlers on? The other is, what is kratom? Where's it come from?
Where does it come from? Okay, so deer antler, where it's sourced, I get it from a company. So I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out for you. And kratom is and I'm sorry if I didn't go over this earlier, I just kind of got into the strains, but kratom comes from a leaf in Indonesia. Typically it's grown, and how it was found in Indonesia, the workers, this is the kind of the information that I've gotten from talking to people even in Thailand. A long time ago, the workers were just like, working, and the leaves they just started chewing on the leaves, and they noticed that there was some type of activation and feeling coming from the leaves. And then they started using it as a medicine, and typically the red kratom is what they were using to work on malaria and getting the fever. And a common conversation of people coming in here and using the kratom tea was during the pandemic. Whenever they got COVID, that was the thing that they use to help them feel better. So the kava and kratom are not related, completely two different sides of the world, and just getting popular in kava bars because of the psychoactive effects. The actual, and you'll see it on our menu now, because I'm trying to play with the words a little bit just because the internet doesn't like the word kratom. But the actual, and I have to read it because I want to say it the right way. Mitragina speciosa is the actual like science name of it, and it's a tree, and it's native to all of Southeast Asia. Yes.
Okay, I know you said kratom is not regulated, but I know the FDA does not really like it. Do you have any updates? Is there, because I saw something kind of, online about they're doing something else. They just don't like it. So, do you have any updates as to where it stands? Like, legally, is there anything we can do, like, write our senators or anything we can do to, like, keep it legal?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that because it's important. Luckily for us in Arizona, ironically, kratom, there was something passed, and so kratom is safe in our state for at least for a little while until hands are changed or somebody pokes an eye out and does something wrong with it. But we are okay in Arizona. There is something passed that as long as it's being tested and we can prove that it's being tested, that we are okay to use it and to still offer it. So no worries on that front. And I will add that the FDA does like it. And they like it so much that that's why they're after it. Because this is something that's taking money out of Big Pharma's hands. This is something that is getting people off of drugs. People are using it to get off drugs. People are using it to quit alcohol. People are using it to get off depressants. People are using it to get pain out of their body. This is something that is, you're right, it is very big and they don't like it. They want it, they want to regulate it, and that's what the fight is. They want to, there are some states where it's not legal, but it is about money. Yeah, and everything is, right? That's marijuana for so long, people in jail. I mean, this is always about money. It is about money. But absolutely, there's a Kratom Association, which I'm a part of, and I study a lot. I actually watch they do like live YouTube. It's very boring, but again, I like boring things. But I also do stay in touch with it because I want to know what's happening. It's important to our community. So you can go to the Kratom Association. You can watch some of their talks that they're giving. They have doctors on there that are doing studies that will give you information about how this is better for you than coffee, sugar. It's where I got the information from. I was like, oh my gosh, this is wild how they don't want you to know that this is better for you. This is also something that people use to get off of opioids because it does activate the same way cheese does, by the way. So I'm going to throw that out there. It does activate the receptors in your brain like opioids. Cheese does the same thing. Eating cheese activates the opioid receptors in your brain. So no wonder you can't stop eating cheese. I've tried to go vegan so many times. I can't get away from cheese. And I learned that in yoga, one of my teacher trainings. They were like, okay, no cheese, no dairy. Like, you're staying away from that. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can take this training. But yeah, so thank you for asking that question. It's a very important question because this is a medicine that we want to keep around for a while. But that is also why I like to educate, why I brew it the way that I do. I don't want anyone having a bad experience. I want it to be used properly. We don't want the spotlight on us for us being the bad guys that are using it wrong and getting people addicted and, making this being a part of the problem. We want to be a part of the solution, and that is an important question and an important kind of experience for us to keep committing ourselves to. So thank you for that. Yes, Chris.
First of all, just thank you for sharing your story and everything you're doing. I really like the way you frame kind of the societal situation at the beginning, talking about how there seems to be more demand for non-alcoholic drinks and other things. And I completely agree. And I think that I really think there's going to be a huge future there, just for a number of reasons. So I really love what you're doing in that perspective. Kind of a side question. One of the things that I hear a lot is that there's almost a reverse tolerance effect. I think especially with kava, I don't know about kratom. But for example, at the beginning you may need to take 3 or whatever, and then as you get more habitual or just almost more consistent, you need less. Is that correct? And is there a big effect there? Or?
So I get this question a lot because people are like, "It's not real." It is actually real, but it's not real for everybody. Again, the chemicals in your body, these are plants, so the chemicals in your body and the way they compound together. I have that experience. I had to drink a lot in the beginning to make sure, kind of feel it. And then now I have one shell at the bar. I don't drink a lot of kava anymore. You don't really have to drink a lot of kava once you've had a really good experience with it. And but not everybody. Again, I have found, and Billy and I were talking about this. Sorry, Billy, I keep putting you on the spot. You're not going to sit over here. If you're taller, I found that I have just I like to collect information. People tell me their experiences, but I have found that if you're taller or you weigh more, kava and kratom hit you differently. If you're smaller, if you haven't had anything to eat, there's so many factors. If you are an alcohol drinker, you're not going to feel kava as fast as the rest of us. And that's, for me, I'm kind of a purist. I don't put a lot of things in my body. I fight sugar to tooth and nail, so I feel kava instantly now. I take one shell and I'm like, oh, there's the kava. Okay, good. But you may not have that experience, right? And it just depends on the relationship. Now, kratom, on the other hand, is completely opposite, and you can build up a tolerance to kratom. That's again why we like to educate you and want you to know, you can build up a tolerance, and you got to be mindful of that tolerance and maybe slow it down a little bit if you're starting to notice, hey, I had 3 of these today. Yeah, it's good for business, but it's not good for you, and I don't want that for you. Right? You have to make sure that you're being responsible with your body. So kratom, you can build a tolerance up to. And I had a guy, ironically, I thought about when he walked in, the universe likes to send me little moments, because I haven't had anyone come in here and really have an addiction to kratom. But just 2 days ago, someone walked in here and sat at the bar and he asked, do you guys have powder here? And I was like, absolutely not, we don't. And he was like, I just started taking this stuff and I'm finding that I need to take more and more of it, and how do I get off of it? And I was like, well, maybe start with the brewed teas and kind of pace yourself down versus eating the powder, because at this point he said he was eating it. And he's like, I never imagined taking this stuff a couple of years ago that I would end up like this. It's about being responsible with it, just like anything else, just like alcohol, just like coffee, just like sugar, just like, I said this earlier because I was talking to myself about this talk, just like a bag of Doritos. It's being responsible with what you're putting in your body, and everybody's body chemistry is going to hit different. Yes?
Yeah. How do you pronounce the name of this establishment, and where does that word come from?
Thank you. It's Meraki. Meraki is a Greek word which means anything, everything, all your work you do with all your heart and soul. And that I found that word a couple of years ago, I think before the pandemic, and I just fell in love with it. And when my husband and I were sitting down, and I didn't really go stalk a lot of kava bars. I didn't know how they were doing things. I didn't know the kava culture. I knew that this was a plant and something that we loved and something that helped our community. And we were open before we were open to the public, just for our classes. So people would come after class and come over here. And this was our love for kind of this medicine, and that's what we hope to kind of breed into this. Into everything that we do. We want to do it with all our heart and soul. We want to make sure that we're always doing everything around here with intention. So thank you for asking that.
First of all, thanks for the talk. Fantastic. Appreciate it. Also, I know sounds like you're kind of starting to broaden your horizons beyond just kava and kratom. I know there's other elixirs and botanical tonics and stuff out there. I see more and more every day on Instagram and all that. New stuff people are inventing. I think like kin euphorics, there's a few other ones out there. Have you tried any of those? Are you interested in bringing those in? How do you feel about that?
So I did try kin and hated it. No offense to them if you like it. I just didn't think it wasn't, it's not very attractive, the taste. We want to make sure you like the stuff. Just don't, I eat sometimes without tasting it, but typically if you're sitting and relaxing, you want to drink something that tastes good. So I'm not a fan of the flavor, and I hope that they do get better at what they're doing. And I often do watch. I just seen a thing on Pinterest the other day. They caught my eye because it was sober curious, and I was like, oh, what is this? And they took their little dropper and they were on the beach, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Now you have ways. So obviously there's so much happening out here, and there are a lot of people are using, and we're using as well, the mushrooms to make you feel good. So we have like mushroom coffee, and we have like this new one, which is the mushroom. It's a lion's mane mushroom kava blend that we just lavender that we just kind of concocted together. So we're always looking to broaden our horizons expansion. I even said like if when they put weed, if weed is legal and I can put it on the menu, we're putting it on the menu. Whatever is going to help you, we want you to have access to it. So we're always definitely looking to branching out, and I'm constantly searching that. I have fun with it. I really enjoy searching like the herbals and the stuff that are legal and helpful and will make you feel good.
If I see stuff on Instagram, do you want me to send it to you? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please send it to me. Yeah, of course.
Are there a friend that has really bad cramps but doesn't live in the area? What would be your recommendation? Or you said you would recommend trying to create them immediately. How would they go about it?
So good news. We are now bagging our Kratom teas in the proper dosage in a tea bag. And we are adding to the label the proper way to use it and dose it, and so it is within the probably next 2 weeks will be on our shelves and on our website, so she can buy it from us, and that would be my recommendation. We have also another blend that's on our website called a Women's Monthly. So ladies, if you come in, my recommendation for that is that the Women's Monthly has other herbals in it that will really help. But then we add just 1 scoop, 4 ounces of red kratom to that tea to give it the kind of that pain relief. So very subtle, just 4 ounces of it is perfectly fine. And she can mix it with something else, like another herbal tea or one of her favorite. I've been mixing lots of little teas back there. Rose water, by the way, friends, will take the bitterness. I did that on accident. But you come here and ask for some rose water to put into your tea, and it'll take that bitter kind of nasty taste, and it makes it taste like a black tea. So that's really fun for me too. But yes, you can take just a smaller dose of it, and I wouldn't again recommend the powder. So you don't want to send our friends on a. For me, it's like sending them on, if they don't know how to dose themselves, you don't want to send them on a path of not being able to come back from.
So I get it if you order here it's dosed properly, but going back to kanna, if you order that, how do you know the dosage?
If you order it from the
Like if you order it for kanna.
yeah, so if you order kanna not in here, yeah. So if you're ordering it from somebody, they should be responsible enough to tell you how to dose their specific kind, and they should give you the instructions. And if they're not, I wouldn't order it from them. That's going to be my best advice for it, because it's going to be different. The plant is going to be different wherever you get it from. Just like you were saying, the plant it's a touch. Kanna is a little touchy, and I've gotten kanna and not gotten anything out of it. That's why when people were first bringing kanna up to me, I was like, no, I made it. It did nothing. I'm not doing this. I had the same experience. So
I will say, Tracy, your stuff does definitely do something. I'll vouch for that. I just tried it this one.
Did you try the kanna today?
Yeah, I already feel it.
Nice, cool, very cool. Yeah, we have the drops here, and we drop it into your drink. Yeah, and it's a very low dose. It's literally like do. You don't need very much, so it's really good stuff. Yeah.
Good.
Hey, was all the decorating you?
Yeah.
Was the decorating all your
I decorated
idea?
all of this. Yeah, thank you. My husband built it all, but I decorated. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Just wanted to wrap it up real quick. So just to again say thank you, Tracy. Really appreciate not only the education, but also the community, that space that you built. Definitely feels very personal and has all the vibes that you mentioned. Really, I mean, I always feel welcome and comfortable and relaxed when I come in here, and I just really appreciate you partnering with us and sharing with us tonight too. So thanks. Just before we go, next Monday, we're actually not going to have a speaker. It's going to be more of an interactive night. So invite all you to come out, and invite everyone else to come out, because Andrea and I and Gary and Sam and stuff, we would really love